Welcome to the Trinity Force Podcast. Yo, it's that Triforce cast beaming straight to your home. Grab a beer so we know Pone ain't drinking alone. Send an email, a quick tweet, just pick up the phone. Leave a message at the beep if you're a creep, watch your tone. Discuss the meta game, patch notes, whatever helps your stats most. Obi-Pone Kenobi is your last hope to snatch gold. So grab your headphones and join in the fun. We'll try and force in some jokes and some cringeworthy puns. Yo, we can make it together, people. Trinity Force Podcast. These boys are second to none. Now that's the end of the intro. It's time we begun.
Hey guys, welcome to Trinity Force Podcast. My name is Adam Ponophobia Coxwell, and I am your host for this lovely evening. I am joined by a great, amazing, awesome, excellent group of people. Totally different from your normal crew. And humorously, I can't introduce Chira Jaden last, but he is the last of the proper crew to be introduced. Therefore, he is the last person to be introduced.
Fine.
Chira.
You know what? This is bullshit again because last night with our little D&D thing, I got introduced. I'm like, and it doesn't bother me that much, but it's just stop. But whatever. Hey everybody, how you doing?
Wait, speaking of, LaShock, the host of the T-Force RPG community and, well, the big man behind the entire thing, he is joining us tonight as well. And you introduced Chira Jaden last?
Yes, I made sure to introduce Chira last night, just for you.
I love it. Okay, so as you guys know, we are working here at the Trinity Force Network as a community building series. We've had already 2 episodes previously about motivation and how to finish the grind into ELO. Now, to round out this series, or at least, I don't know, I wouldn't even say put a cork in it. Like, we're just moving on to the next piece of it here, is that we have brought on Celery Stalk and Jonathan. Jonathan, I don't know do you want me to call you Jonathan?
You can call me Oblivious, you can call me Jonathan, either way.
I don't know. You didn't look too oblivious there. You kind of waved, so I might stick with Jonathan. They are from the AllMid.GG organization based out of Cincinnati, Ohio, and they are putting on the All Mid Collegiate Tournament coming up on October 3rd. We have talked about it a number of times on the podcast, and they are here to talk about that. Before we get into that event, I know you guys are like chomping at the bit to talk about it. First, I want to say something about the Trinity Force community because that's what we're talking about tonight, and that's this Friday. Which date is that? Hold on, let me pull up the calendar. The 18th at 7 p.m. Eastern throughout the entire night, the community is throwing together a special charity event to help raise for Doom Spikinator. I guess he's doing a marathon and he's running to help raise money for kids over in third world countries so they can have fresh drinking water, and he wants to raise a minimum of like $200 that night. And I thought, this Trinity Force community can get together and raise more than $200 in a night for some of these people. So why don't you guys get together and watch them? They're going to be playing Cards Against Humanity, they're going to be playing Arums, they're just going to be playing games. All the people from the Four Awards podcast. Yeah.
I'll probably show up drunk at some point and make an ass of myself. It'll be great. It's fun for everybody.
Chiro will be there. Horse will be there. I'm sure LaShock will jump in at some point and do some stupid shit. Like, I would be there, but unfortunately, I've got other things to do that Friday night.
You have to be an adult.
I gotta be an adult.
It's Saturday night?
Yeah, Saturday.
I thought it was Friday.
Saturday the 19th.
Oh, shit, I might be there then.
Oh,
I just double-checked.
For some reason, I thought it was Friday. Oh, fuck yeah. If it's Saturday the 19th, then go here, 7 p.m. Eastern. They're taking donations. Like, the donations is like, I think it's like $2, and they'll play any champion you want. Or $5, and they'll just bust out make that into, or an Arum. Like, randomly, you give them $5, they'll turn that game into an Arum for the first 10 minutes or something stupid. Like, it's kind of like the same thing with the whole 8-bit salute. We're just trying to have a lot of fun and raise some money and just be stupid on stream, right? Yeah. These people getting all mad at me for telling them Saturday. I thought it was Friday. It's Saturday. I have the date right, though, for All Mid, which is on October 3rd. So first, Celery or Jonathan, whoever wants to jump in there, why don't you guys tell us who you are, what All Mid is, and why you're putting it together? Whoever,
Sure.
Just somebody take it.
Jonathan,
ladies
if you want
first,
to.
I guess. I don't know.
Wow, how nice of you.
Such a gentleman.
Right.
But I'm Stellany, or Celery Stalk. I actually really prefer Celery. I think it's cool. It's like my gamer tag, my summoner name. And I am AllMid's Chief Marketing Officer. So all of our front-end stuff, any sponsorship or partnership stuff, that's something that I take care of.
There you go, Jonathan.
Right. And I'm Jonathan. Most people just call me Mr. Oblivious or just Oblivious. I am our head of stream production. So anybody who can attend our event on the 3rd and 4th, I will be in charge of streaming it.
And that's right. Where are they going to be able to find all those streams at, by the way?
I believe the name of the channel is All Mid TV, and then it follows 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way to 8 for all the individual channels, because we'll be running multiple for the event.
Right. So if you guys can't make it to the event, I know it's in Cincinnati, Ohio, which is kind of an odd location for some people. It's not so much on the West Coast or East Coast, but that's kind of why you guys are putting this together, right? Because you want to put a Midwest version of, I guess, collegiate esports together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Like when the core group of All Mid got together, we created All Mid with the Midwest gamer in mind. It's that gamer who doesn't get the opportunity to get out to the coast and experience those bigger events like PAX Prime or Summoners Con and all the other ones. And our hope is that these events will All Mid will bring those types of events to the Midwest and let those gamers have the experience of what it's like to be part of a bigger community.
Especially because with events like this,
Cherry, your microphone.
Oh, wait. Is it the wrong one?
Yes.
All right, hold on. Fix that midway through this. This is garbage.
It's good thing we're not doing Audacity tonight, huh?
I know. That's here we go. That's
Wait, hold on.
fix that.
All right, there we
There
go.
we go.
Sweet.
Hey.
All right. For somebody who's been huge into gaming for a really long time, it's kind of sad that there haven't been more events like this in the past. So this is like a giant breath of fresh air from somebody who's just a fan of gaming in general. That I get to travel an hour and a half to go to an event with a bunch of other people that want to watch games. So
Right.
That just makes me so happy because yeah, it's an hour and a half away from your home. It's not that long plane ride, and you get this opportunity to just meet a bunch of other people that actually love what you love, and then you can make that connection. You can have more people to play games with, to just be friendly with, and just have a good time. I just thank you for that.
Yeah.
That
no problem.
Let's
made me happy.
table that for a moment, because that's actually a really good segue into building community and whatnot, but I really want to make sure that people get all the information about All Mid before we talk about why we're building this community, because we've had a lot of questions about people who have said, hey, we're coming from Kentucky, we're coming from Indiana, or maybe we're coming a couple hours out of state. What should I expect the day of? Should I pre-register? How do I pre-register? And if I showed up the day of, can I still get into the event?
Okay. So first off, yes, definitely pre-register. If you go to allmid.gg/join, you should be taken to our registration page where you can choose between our competitive tournaments or a general registration. General registration gives you access to the free play land, the casual tournaments, the vendor and artist alley, the tabletop gaming lounge, the relaxation lounge, our mini games, our giveaways, all that stuff. And competitive gives you access to the competitive tournaments in League and Hearthstone and in Smash. And really the only difference between the competitive and casual tournaments are that the competitive ones just have a little bit more of a pricing for them. The price difference is there's a price difference based on what you register for as well.
So what's my first place prize for the Hearthstone tournament or League tournament, whatever comes on top of your head?
Right now, just prize pool. We're still working out exactly with our sponsors, placing all their products for pricing, but we'll be announcing that about next week.
Cool. Now, if I was just the person who was going to go there and pay the I think it's $20, right, to get in,
Yeah.
just general registration, you're not in any tournaments. And I wanted to go play in LeShock's D&D group, which I think which we're announcing tonight too. That's why we have him on here. Can I go play in that with the $20 general admission?
Yes.
Okay.
General admission gives you everything except those competitive tournaments.
Beautiful. LeShock, you hear that? You got plenty of people that can come over there and play in LeShock's D&D group, which I think which we're announcing tonight too. That's why we have him on here. Can I go play in that with the $20 general admission?
Yes.
Okay.
General admission gives you everything except those competitive tournaments.
Beautiful. LeShock, you hear that? You got plenty of people that can come over there and play in your D&D tournament. Or
More
D&D stuff.
minions to kill. I mean, more players. More players.
Oh, shots fired. Look out.
Well, beautiful then. I guess everybody has pretty much the idea of it. Now, day of the event, can people register? Can they come up to the door and give you $20 and get in?
Yes, you can.
All right. Credit cards or cash only?
We can do both.
Oh, look at that. There's really no excuse for you not to come in. So that's obviously taken at the fifth, or I can't say obviously because we haven't said it, but that is taking place at the Fifth Third Arena over here in Cincinnati, Ohio. We did not mention that. I brought Lashak on here too because I kind of wanted to bring him in to talk about a little bit about this, because this isn't just League of Legends. This is Hearthstone. This is, I think you guys have StarCraft going on too. League of Legends, Hearthstone, Dungeons and Dragons. I don't remember if you have StarCraft. Please correct me.
We don't have StarCraft.
Okay.
So on our competitive side, we have League, we have Hearthstone, we have Project M, Melee, and Smash 4.
Melee was the one I was thinking of.
And in our casual side, we have League, Hearthstone, Heroes of the Storm, and Dota 2.
And so that brings me into, I keep bringing up Lashak's name. Lashak, what are you doing at All Mid, and why do we have you on this podcast tonight? Because
Why are you even here?
I don't know. I'm
What do
lost.
you do?
These people found me on the internet and asked me to come here. So I'm going to be running both on Saturday and Sunday 2 one-shot D&D games for people that want to sign up and come and play. There'll be pre-made characters. You don't need any experience. You can just hop in, play. Hope you enjoy it.
there we go. And we're talking about building community because Lashak has actually put together a huge community of players. So to roll this back into what we had just tabled, we had talked about building a community and making it a reason for people to, I guess, get together and learn like-minded games. So why did you guys start All Mid, other than the fact that you wanted to have a collegiate tournament on the here? What brought everybody together? Why is there a community being formed around All Mid?
Yeah, well, what actually happened was before All Mid was even a thing, there was supposed to be something called an Ohio Cup. And it was going to be an Ohio Cup League of Legends tournament between all of the colleges in Ohio. And we are super hype about it. But what ended up happening was the person who was organizing that had some medical issues and had to drop the project. And he gave it to our CEO right now, Chris Postel from the University of Cincinnati. And he contacted me and was like, hey, what do you think about this Ohio Cup thing? Should we pursue it? Should we make it something bigger? We decided to make it something bigger. And we brought in people from OSU and Xavier, and the person who was doing the Ohio Cup originally, and we formed All Mid. And what we found, I'm sorry if you hear that awkward train in the background. Whoops, Oxford, Ohio, best place ever. But when we all started working together on All Mid, we saw the benefits of collaboration and just how excited we were to realize that we were all part of this Ohio community of gamers. And the person who started the Ohio Cup originally, Sebastian, he recognized that, and it's cool that it kind of blossomed into All Mid. And just our core group realizing how great our community was just between the exec members of our clubs, we wanted our members to recognize that they're part of this bigger community, and there's so many people that they can just go and meet, have a good time with, share their passions with, and just grow as gamers and as people. So that's kind of why there's this whole huge emphasis on community, and how it's all crowding around All Mid. It's just because that's how it was founded. That's one of our core values: community, collaboration, inclusivity. This is what we stand for, and this is what we want to do.
I was looking at Chira. He had that little he does that little thing with his mouth, and I can tell he has a thought, but he's not sure.
No, keep going. I'm happy. I'm happy. This whole thing's great because just it. I think there's sometimes been a little bit too much competition with people wanting to do their own things or not even potentially they want to go.
Chira again.
No, you're right.
No, he yells at me all the time about the same thing. He's like, we're not an exclusive club. We're all here to get each other better. We're all here to create a community. And he's really been pushing that.
I've yelled at Adam in the past, and he's coming around for things,
Good.
which is great. But people need to realize that you can get way more done together and take advantage of everybody's different skill set rather than just
Yeah.
I'm gonna brute force do everything myself. So.
And it's funny because that's actually something that Chris and I talked about in the very early stages of All Mid, especially because esports, right? Highly competitive video games. We all want to be the best. And Chris brought up to me, he's like, why do we always have to be so competitive? Why can't we just all support each other in this way? And the thing with gaming and esports in general is that it's such a baby industry. I don't know if we all really have the right to be competitive right now because no one actually knows what they're doing. In all honesty,
We all need the help we can get, yeah.
Right. Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with collaboration. I mean, think about when technology and computers were being developed. I mean, Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, like they sat at the same table and they exchanged information and they gave each other code and hardware and all that stuff, and they recognized that if they share the resources, they're only going to grow the industry and benefit the community. Like, I don't see why somebody wouldn't do this.
Sure. Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing that we're trying to build here is that Chira and I will sit down a lot and drink and just kind of talk. And I think that's kind of actually how Lashak and his T-Force RPG thing kind of came about here, was that we're talking one night. He's like, I want to run D&D. I was like, all right, well, you can run under my banner. I don't care. Go for it. And the next thing I know, there's this giant community that's spawned, and I'm invited to this Slack group with like 50 people, and I'm just kind of like thrown back. I'm like, holy shit, there's this many people that want to talk about, that want to play Dungeons & Dragons and want to be part of this community.
There's now a waiting list for people to get into games. Yeah, surprise.
and all I had to do at that point was let one guy just go. All he did was say, hey, can I do this under your banner? Yeah, I'll announce it on the podcast once, and now here we are. And yeah, that's what I love about building community and whatnot. And I would really like, this is kind of like an offshoot, but one day what I would really like to do is kind of have just to talk at a panel at like a big PAX or something about building community and building a podcast and all that, because there's so much information here to share. Is why aren't we out there sharing our information in TeamSpeak? Why aren't we talking about how to get better at League of Legends with everybody? And that's the philosophy behind this podcast. And so that's why I'm so happy to connect with all mid and everybody else that we have here, because everybody just wants everybody to get better at the video games, right?
Yeah.
And I guess that kind of leads me into, I mean, we kind of talked about it, but is that more or less what you want to accomplish with All Mid? What is your future goals here with All Mid? You obviously are going to be doing, is this your first major tournament that you guys have put together?
Yeah, this will be All Mid's first ever event. Yeah.
So what do you guys expect? I mean, I know what you expect out of the tournament, but what do you expect to happen after the tournament? What are your future goals? What do you want to do for the Midwest collegiate scene with All Mid?
Yeah. This takes me back a couple of months. No, it's a great question, and we've talked about it. We've talked about it a lot. Every month. Okay, really quickly. So like, we're spread out between a bunch of different colleges, right? So all of our meetings happen on Skype every week. But we rarely get to see each other in person. So we try really, really hard to have like in-person meetings every month, and like just chill with each other. And our first one ever, we had that whole like 1 year, 3 year, 5 year like plan. And we know that we definitely, so this time around, it's something big, it's something fun, something exciting, like hype, getting all these people involved, and we definitely want that in the future. But I think our next event is looking at something more, from what I gather, and this is nothing, like, don't quote me. Don't quote me.
Okay.
But I think something more educational, like explaining to people more about, maybe since we're focusing on those collegiate groups, like running their club, like kind of having a collegiate summit in a way.
Right.
I personally think, and this is the first time I'd ever like tell someone this, it's been like cooking in my mind, I think an esports conference would be something that's really neat, educating all the different collegiate groups about the esports industry in general and how it works and how you can get involved and how you can progress in that industry and how that applies to your school. I personally would love to see All Mid go that route, but that's just a conversation that I have to have with the team.
Sure. Jonathan's like, oh man, knowledge bombs are being dropped to me right now. I can't believe she's been thinking about this and didn't tell me.
Yeah, she's kind of one of our high ups. I'm kind of under them, so I don't get
Jonathan
all the
does.
long-term information.
Listen,
So-
I'll give you a bit of knowledge that I've learned from putting this together, is that everybody is equal no matter what part of you are in the company, so that if you have information, you have some kind of idea. Lashak, I'm going to keep using you just because you're here and you're a pretty face. If he was a lowly Battle Arena caster, and now he's running our T-Force RPG group, if this dude wouldn't have come to me and said, I want to do this, it would have never happened. So, like, that's one of the big things I like to tell everybody, is everybody is a peer when it comes to sitting at TeamSpeak and whatnot.
Oh yeah, like no, definitely. Like I was completely floored when they invited me onto the team and said, hey, we need somebody who can broadcast this stuff. We hear you know a thing or two about computers, and I'm like, well, I mean, I could probably name a whole 4 facts, but
I like how
I was completely floored. I had no idea that somebody needed somebody with broadcasting skills and that kind of stuff and an eye for design. So
Sure.
I'm super excited about it.
Well, speaking of the broadcasting and whatnot, what should we expect out of All Mid when it comes to broadcasting? Those people that want to support the event but can't come, are there ways for them to support this event from being anywhere in the world?
Yeah.
Talk
But-
about it is the big thing. Definitely talking about it beforehand, letting people know, because I mean, we're a brand new company, not too many people know about us just yet. But other than that, just,
How about the
cut
day of the
lots.
event as it goes? Are we going to have a subscribe button? Is there going to be a way to donate to get things to not say things that are happening, because obviously the event is scheduled to do what it's going to do, but are there ways for people to give you the $20 even though they wouldn't be able to be there? That type of thing.
I don't think right now we have anything in the way for that, but that's definitely a thought, and I can bring it up with some of our higher ups.
Sure.
But right now we don't have support for a subscribe button or anything just
we
yet.
don't have a subscribe button, but and this is something I've never even thought of, and nothing I want to pressure anyone to do at all. But we do have like a donation button on our website. I think it's on the contact us page, and it's just kind of like, hey, if you'd like to support us, we'd appreciate it. And it's just like a little PayPal link.
Sure.
But really don't feel obligated to do that at all. I think that your viewership and just like cheering the teams on who are playing is really enough, because like that's exciting to us that people are taking an interest in all mid, and that's also really exciting to the people who are playing, that people like from their school and people who are not from their school are watching them play and learning about them as players. So like to me, and I think to our attendees, I feel like that would be a much bigger contribution.
Now, when we're at all mid, are we allowed to steal a whole bunch of the attendees and take them over to like Rheingeist afterwards and have this giant Rheingeist party where we just drink lots of beer?
What happens after the event doesn't come back to the event, Adam.
What happens at all mid stays at all mid.
Well, they're in chat. Shogi's in chat. He's like, listen, you could sleep in the venue if you wanted to. And there's even a Chipotle close by. So why can't I just take a bunch of people? You know what? Because we're going to have I didn't say this, but we're going to have a booth at the event. Even if the booth, we don't know what the booth is going to be like yet, but we might have you sign up. Hey, you guys want to go to Rheingeist with us? No.
So we're going to kidnap people and force them to drink with us. That sounds like a great plan.
Hey.
That's all
it.
Trinity Force is about.
Right.
Yeah.
It's drinking and getting better with the community. All right, no, serious question time, because I just had to break the monotony of it for a moment.
They kill it.
Yeah. So speaking of collegiate tournament, I know you guys are both in college, correct? Or
Yeah.
attending
both
some sort of college.
students.
There we go. Yes.
Yeah, we're
Thank you.
both students at Miami University.
All right. Beautiful. So why do you guys feel that there needs to be a collegiate community created?
At Miami or just in the Midwest?
Just in general. Why
Period.
collegiate tournaments? Why not? Because already Riot is putting together, they're putting together a pro scene. They're allowing young players to get there and get paid and have this turn into a job. But there's always those players that I would say, I'm not going to say left out, but the players who were challenger who just couldn't get into becoming a pro player. So why do you feel there should be a collegiate scene put together, and what do you feel that all mid will help with players to be able to? I'm leading the question a little bit, but I think you guys see where I'm going with this.
I don't know.
So
Do you want to start?
So you're just asking why you think there should be a collegiate scene?
There you go. I'm leading the question because I don't want to answer it for you because I know the answer, but I also want to hear you guys I want to hear your opinions on this. Why should there be a collegiate scene, and why do you feel that all mid is? You guys put all mid together.
What's been potentially
Go ahead.
missing from any other collegiate scenes in the past? Because there are like
you.
clubs at universities, but like what is holding back these clubs, or what's going to be able to push them up to the next level of like getting stuff done?
I mean, a lot of that has to do with like scale, as well as like perception. Esports is maybe 5 years old at max. It's kind of a new thing, so we're all new here. Like I don't see any, how to put it. There's never been anything like this before. Esports has never existed on the scale that it does today.
Few veterans.
So I feel like a
this-
lot of us are just kind of figuring out like, oh, people enjoy this. Okay, well, how do we support this? I don't know, Stelany, how many people? We had our first league event just a couple weeks ago. How many people were there? I don't remember.
For
the
Miami University?
Yeah.
175.
It's quite a number of people.
Yeah.
With 3 days of advertising.
Wow.
Yeah, it was kind of a rushed thing. So like,
It's crazy.
I don't think any of us I know I personally didn't expect that many people to show up. I was expecting maybe 40, 50 at
40.
max.
90.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just lowballing it,
Right.
but I I had no idea that many people were
Does-
going to show up. I was completely just
Does
flabbergasted.
Miami University have a scholarship or anything set up for League of Legends yet, or any professional games? I think there's only a
Not
few.
yet.
Not yet, and
But
that's
I want
something-
it in my heart.
Yeah, you discussed that before, that one for a collegiate esports scholarship for other students. So
There's a giant spider walking across my floor right now.
That's
Kill it.
terrifying. Yeah,
Kill the
it's going
fire.
out with fire. Yeah.
I'm gonna let it go. It's,
Basement problems.
I guess, spiders aren't too bad. It's not like a fruit fly. Fruit flies
Watch
are
out.
bad.
Adam's getting ganked by Elise.
No, seriously, it's like creepy.
Got him.
All right, I gotta ignore it.
be fine.
Even though I'm a little creeped out. All right, no, the question I was going here was for, because the way I look at it with the collegiate scene and building the community and building the collegiate community is because there's a lot of players out there who are, 16, 17, who are going to become an 18. They're going to be able to work full time as adults in the United States and can actually work with Riot Games and become professional gamers, right? And I feel like there needs to be that collegiate community built up, and it needs to be shown that you can play League of Legends and get your schooling done. But there needs to be some middleman in between there that tells the people that, listen, you could be a pro gamer for 2 or 3 years, but schooling is still very, very important, because the life of an esports gamer is short. I don't care how you cut it. You have to be top 0.001% to make it and to be like a broadcaster or something. And even then, your life is short. So schooling is important for most people. And that's why I was, if Miami University or any of the other schools out there, it builds a collegiate club and helps build a community, in my mind, I don't know about you guys, but that should be one of the priorities, is to tell people, you can do this. You can absolutely become a pro gamer, but you need to have a contingency. You need to have a fallback plan. You need to be able to do something, because you're not going to become a broadcaster.
It's
Oh, yeah,
just
definitely.
it's not a feasible, like, long-term sort of investment, if you want to look at it that way.
Right. So
But-
yeah, that's what I was, I don't know what all mid's plans in the future, but I was hoping that was something that, classes or seminars or whatever it may be that all mid wants to put together to explain to people that, we believe in you. If you want to be a pro gamer, you can do it, but don't neglect your schooling to do that.
Yeah. This is when I take notes.
Dude, I'm full
This
of
is when I
ideas.
write this down.
No, this is, I guess this is more like on a personal level. This is something that I've spent quite a bit of time thinking about, just because I do have family members who are just like, make sure you're getting your homework done before you,
Right.
you sit down with your laptop, playing.
Why are you
video
wasting
games.
your time?
Exactly. Yes.
Sadness.
Uh, that worry is always there, just because there is a very fine line that you have to tread, and obviously, in the moment you get that one bad grade, all of a sudden, your life just explodes and everything's crumbling around you. The point is to avoid that, and that's something that I've considered definitely, like in the future. Right now, I don't think we're ready for a bunch of seminars. I think we're quite busy enough trying to schedule events. And
You're right. Yeah, but there's always that thing down the road. Like, somebody with the Trinity Force community is, I'm always thinking, what can I do down the road? We've started D&D, we've started Hearthstone, we've started League of Legends. Now we're looking into expanding to other Blizzard games. We're looking to go into different conventions, but always trying to expand the community and think of what we can do next. And I think All Mid probably has the best chance of getting into those brand new gamers that are up and coming, or that brand new community of players that need to understand that League or StarCraft or whatever game it may be is not going to be your end-all be-all. Because, again, 0.01% of the gaming community is going to become crepo and just somehow make it into a broadcasting at Riot. But even then, what's to say he's going to make it anywhere past this when League of Legends finally dies out? I mean... So, throw that out there so you guys can think about that as you continue to build the community, as we continue to work together as a community.
And another thing that I'm really happy that this tournament's doing is, not only is it giving an event for people to meet, but I think it's also going to take away from some of the apprehensions that people have about, like, falling into their hobby necessarily, or like going out and being like, hey, this is what I do. And, we've seen the rise in popularity and, like, now sort of a counterculture becoming a little bit more mainstream of a thing. ESPN at one point, we're never going to show gaming on our network. Flash forward 2 years and there you go. Like, they're doing exactly what they said they're not going to do. So I I'm really happy to see events like this popping up and people taking the prerogative to go out and make these things happen, because it's really going to spur forward more things like this all over the place, whether it be in Ohio or let's just like somewhere else that's not either of the coasts where things have been centered for the most part for the past 10 years anyway.
I mean, you guys kind of talked about that before, but it's
Right.
was it pretty much 5 like-minded people or 6 or whatever the number was that got together one day and just said, "Hey, let's do this"? I mean, how do you throw that big of an event together? How do you get Fifth Third Arena to write off to say, "Yeah, we want to give you this space"? You know, like that blows my mind when you're like, "We're going to Fifth Third Arena." I'm like, "Well, damn, I went and saw Kill Switch Engage there one day." You know?
I just think that, I don't know, like, I think All Mid's coming from a really good place, and we're really just trying to benefit our players and to benefit like people in the Midwest. So I think that once people kind of see your message and see that this isn't an idea in your head, this is something that's actually happening, like coming to these people, like asking for these resources with a plan that's already in action, people are just a lot more willing to jump on board with you because they see your passion, they see your drive, they see that you're actively working towards something, and then they start believing in you. And that's a beautiful and really amazing thing to be able to go to someone and they'd be like, "Hey, I believe in you. I believe in this cause. Like, let's work together." And then it's like, awesome. Let's do it for these people, and let's just go forward. It's really just funsies.
Yeah, I'd really say like definitely the key word here is definitely, you know, passion. Like you definitely have to be willing to put in that time, that effort, you know,
Right.
sacrifice
Me.
all of your time in some cases.
Every moment
As
of
I'm
free
sure
time.
you guys,
Yeah.
as I'm sure you guys are quite aware, it takes a lot.
My girlfriend's not too happy with me some days.
Yeah,
Let's put it
you're-
that way.
Your passion
know that
becomes your second job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, LeShock, how does that work out for you over there trying to build a D&D
Welcome to the
community?
party, buddy.
I mean,
Go ahead.
I'm busy as can be, but I absolutely love it. Like seeing all these people get excited and playing other D&D games. Like I run 2 games a week, but we have 7 weekly games going on right now amongst the whole community. I don't even have the opportunity to see or watch them all, but I see them typing and talking about it and the general chat they have going on. We have one guy in there, Carnus, who always pops in with an RPG question of the day every morning when he gets to work. Like, so I'm just sitting there when I'm normally working, and I occasionally look at Slack on my phone and see everyone talking about RPGs, and it's amazing.
Yeah, I don't join that chat room too often, I'll be honest with you.
Rip.
I kind of go in there and I'm like, "Hey guys, hype for this," then I leave.
That's the plan. We're trying to scare you in particular away.
Oh, well, fair enough. I don't really. I like I told LeShock earlier. I said I wish I could join it. And he's like, "Yeah, you're just too busy doing other things." So I'm like, oh. Yeah, trying to build more than one community, you can't really take part in it. But let's talk about obstacles, because I think that is something that a lot of people, it might scare people away from building a community. Like this entire podcast so far, the 30 minutes we've been talking has been about why we built the community, how we kind of built the community, and again, I'll go back to what kind of community we are building. But what kind of obstacles have you guys faced? What do you guys think the biggest obstacle you as either players or as All Mid have faced to get your community to start? It's like an interview question. These people are like looking at me
I
like,
know.
"Oh shit."
This question.
No pressure.
No pressure.
Or what's been like one major challenge?
Challenges work too.
I mean, I'd say like the first obstacle you have to overcome is just getting your name out there, like getting people to actually stop and say, "Oh, what you're saying something. Oh, he's speaking," is really difficult sometimes. You know, you can't just build like build a website or something and just put it out there and just be like, "Oh, boom, here's my community." No, it's like it takes people. You really have to be patient, I guess. Definitely patience.
Yeah. Patience it does take a long time to build a community, but it's worth it. And sometimes in that time span, an obstacle could be like your own feelings, like your own anxiety of, is this going to work out? Like, is all this hard work worth it? Like, will we be delivering what like our people will want. Like, are we doing this correctly? You know, those thoughts can totally be an obstacle. Patience, that's a really good way to put it, because you don't build a community overnight. Like, we're still growing the all mid community. I'm sure you guys are still building like the T-Force community.
We'll always
Like,
be building the T-Force community, though.
yeah,
Always.
and like it's a scary but also a very exciting process, because you just know that down the line you never know like where your community could be, and that could be a great thing, and that could be like an oh my god thing. But most of the time, it's a great thing. Like last year, like speaking from Miami really quickly, last year our community had about maybe, I'm gonna say like 40 really loyal and active members, and we'd get like 40 or 50 or 60 people to our lands each year. This year, we have people that always ask us, what's going on this weekend? Like, what's happening this weekend? Like, I'm so excited for that land. Like, and it takes time. It is patience and just making sure you have all your ducks in a row. Organization too. Like, if you're not in constant communication with your team, like a lot of obstacles can pop up, because then everybody's not on the same page, and then information gets thrown around, and that can get really sticky. So
Right.
obstacles.
Well, speaking of building a community and lands and stuff, one, send me some information about that, because I want to come down to Miami and join a LAN at least once if I can make it. Two, I know there's a lot of people out there, and not so much the college age kids, but there's a lot of people that are pushing my age. I'm past college, right? I'm pushing 30, and there's and I've got people I want to bring into the community scene now that are younger. I mean, I got an 8-year-old I'm going to teach how to play video games and whatnot. But
Good luck.
Yeah, the struggle is about the.
It's a lot of
Like
fun,
that.
actually, though. But like building community doesn't just stop. Doesn't just stop with the people that you talk to at your school. And that's something I want to stress out for anybody listening to this podcast, is that there's a lot of people out there that probably play video games or might want to even take part in a collegiate scene that are outside of your normal mold. Because I may not be 19, 20, 22 years old, but I know a lot of people that age. I have a lot of friends who might be a little older. We all would love to go to a LAN like that, because we try to sit back. Nostalgia, 2002, I was going to LANs with like 512 megabytes of RAM playing Counter-Strike. You know what I mean? Like trying to get our fucking LAN working, and people are on different subnets. It's just like, it's like a shit show. But we want to come and like relive that to go to a LAN. So if you can start building a community, finding like-minded people, it'll come, right? As long as you put the passion toward it. I think that's what everyone has pretty much been saying at this point. Everyone's shaking their head right now.
Yeah.
Remember, this is a podcast. People need to hear you.
Yeah.
What? No.
I guess as we move into, I don't want so much to say the end, but kind of like as we do the cool down here, how do you guys feel that you, let me reword that question. What do you guys think, or how do you know when a community is thriving? How do you know that the all-mid community is where you want it to be for the time? I mean, everybody wants it to be bigger than it always is, and it's never good enough, but how did you guys know when you made it, or you knew it was what you wanted it to start out to be?
When did things get real?
When did things get real for you guys?
Oh gosh, for all mid, things started getting real when a lot of resources, just started like coming in. Like, people would just start hearing about us, whether that be like other collegiate communities or companies, and they'd be like, hey, I'm interested in this, let's talk about this. And it's like, oh god, you know about us? Oh, like, this is amazing. And just, I don't know, when that happens and so many people start
When
coming on
Shogi
board,
started helping, he wants the plug.
When you actually
true,
have to
too.
have an elevator speech. All right. So with everything that's been going on between what you guys have been doing, is there anything that you see potentially that's been lacking overall in maybe other communities throughout League, or in like the general League community as a whole? Do you think there's something that's missing? Do you think there's something that's like almost there that isn't? Basically, like, what do you guys think, other than just more stuff and kind of the
Bigger events.
Right. And like, what do you guys think's missing? What do you guys have to say that you think might be able to fix that problem?
I guess I'll go ahead and start. I'd say definitely like perception is definitely a big deal. Like especially with video games, like people look at video games and go like, "Ew, why are you wasting your time on that?" You know, you sit down, you watch your favorite YouTubers or you listen to your favorite podcasts about video games, and somebody's like, "Why are you wasting your time with that?" Definitely perception has a lot to do with how large a community can get or how seriously people will take it. Like, you know, especially with esports lately, it's been crazy. You know, people are getting, you know, big companies to sponsor them. People are, you know, hosting these giant events, kind of like what we're trying to do. Getting people to take you seriously is absolutely massive in an industry where people don't usually take you seriously.
Yeah, speaking on like perception, a really good example of this is I got the opportunity to go to MSG for the Liquid and Impulse game and the TSM and CLG game, and oddly enough, but really cool, is that my mom went with me. She knew that I was doing things with All Mid, and she was finally like, all right, Selene, I want to immerse myself in your world, and I want to understand what's going on, because clearly you're passionate about this, and I don't know anything about it. Honestly, I'm a little afraid of your world. I think it's kind of scary, and I think that, like I remember in the past, she was like, video games will ruin your life, and I tried to get her to understand, like, I tried to be like, I don't understand where you're coming from. Like, can we work on this? Like I can see where you're coming from in a way, because there are stories like, oh, people jumping out of college, blah, 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 all this stuff. But like, it doesn't always have to be that way. So she came with me. And before, I remember when we were leaving for MSG, she's like, Sony, I'm really scared. Like, maybe I shouldn't go. And I'm like, no, Mom, like, please come with me and experience this with me. So she went. And the first night, when we actually sat down, she kind of just like looked around and she was kind of like, okay, this isn't too bad. And now she's like watching the games and she's looking at all the pro players and she's seeing how everybody's interacting with each other and how one good play can spawn a conversation. Then all of a sudden people are trading like contact information and all this stuff. And she was, it really opened up her mind in a way, because she told me at the end of the event, she's like, Selene, I actually really enjoyed myself tonight. And I was like, really?
Wow.
This is so exciting. Like, can you tell me why you feel that way? And she's like, well, I look at the kids who are here, and I just remember what it was like when gaming first started. And I know that a lot of these kids were probably looked down upon, like, when they were younger because they gamed, and that they probably still struggle, like, with the way I was worried about you. But really, all these people are just finding something common. Like, they're finding common interests, and they're coming here to celebrate what they love, and they're excited about it, and that's not a bad thing, because now they're making a lot more friends. They're probably being a lot more social. Like, this is a great thing, and I'm happy that, like, those people on stage, those players, they, like, I don't know what their younger lives were like, but gaming has given them this opportunity to just, like, be in the celebrity role for once and have a good time and just make all these new friends, and I love that. And my mom told me in the morning the next day for the final, she's like, I'm excited to go today. I want to learn today. I want to talk to people. I want to know about League. My mom actually talked to Trick 2G. That was a little strange for me. I was like, Mom. But like,
well, if he didn't scare her away, then she's gonna stick around for a little while.
I don't know. He seems like probably pretty cool.
No,
guy outside the stream.
Trick's awesome. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of some of the antics, but other than that, I think he's yeah, he's pretty...
not a huge fan of antics. You're the guy who fucking does like the same shit he does. I don't want to hear it.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay. Anyway, I really like that story. That's kind of like one of those stories that I think I might clip out of this and just kind of use for like kind of keep in my pocket for later use, because
I would be very surprised if that sort of story wasn't kind of common against anybody who's been gaming for a long time, that have parents that have ever been like sort of anti-gaming, or why are you doing this, or like you could be doing anything else. Because I feel like that's pretty reflective across a lot of people.
I like that story because, I mean, I've told the story 100 times about how I met my now girlfriend. I told her from the fact that I do video games, and here I am. I'm still doing it every night, and she supports me. But that's the same type of story with parents or anybody else who's out there that may have been inundated as they've grown up that sports are the way that you get popular. Or the people said it in the chat. That's the world's is the Super Bowl of League of Legends. What's the difference between 2 million people sitting down and watching League of Legends and 2 million people sitting down and watch the Super Bowl? How many people out of those actually understand? How many people out of there actually understand what is going on with the Super Bowl? 1% of those players probably actually understand what happens, why the calls are being made. And it might be a little bit larger for League of Legends because for the most part the community kind of understands the game, but they may not understand it from a pro level. But like, it really is no difference.
You can draw parallels between both.
Very much so. And even though, it's from this year, I've already told the girlfriend, I said, we're sitting down together on that 31st, and we're both gonna watch. We're both watching the League of Legends finals that entire day. Now, speaking of the League of Legends finals, this is what I wanted to bring into the final bit about All Mid. Is All Mid putting on anything for the League of Legends finals in Cincinnati, Ohio? Is there any place where like-minded people can come and watch the World Finals with other like-minded people?
I don't. Okay, I know we're having like a viewing stage for Worlds at All Mid, so people will have that opportunity to support the teams there. As of for finals, that sounds like it's something that our clubs would do on an individual basis.
Okay,
I think that'd be cool.
To the public? No, if there's clubs out there, because I'm asking how you, because I know that Trinity Force is working with some people, and it was working with Buckeye Land. But we were also considering working with you guys as well to have a kind of like a 2 spots that people can go to. Mm-hmm. And watch the World Finals. So if there's anything out there, if you guys had that available, we'd love to be able to sponsor that.
For example, we know that some collegiate clubs, if they put on an event, they can technically make like the event public, so anybody who's kind of interested can show up, hang out, do whatever. You don't have to just be a college student, because let's take somebody like Adam. Adam's not in school at all, and let's say that he is that guy who wants to watch League, doesn't have a bunch of people in that area, and is like, hey, I want to go watch this with other people that want to watch it with me. Just like if I wanted to watch a football game, I could go to B-Dubs, and there's going to be a bunch of other people there that are excited to do exactly the same thing. So yeah, I don't know.
I've done similar stuff in the past with Miami, with doing viewing parties for that kind of stuff. I don't think we've done anything for Worlds, have we?
No, there was a Worlds viewing party last year. Yeah. I just was out of town, so I didn't get to go. We had one.
Another question for you guys, and I probably should have asked this earlier, is, one, can I ask you guys what year you are in college right now?
Oh.
I'm a 3rd year.
Okay. Celery?
And I am a 4th year.
Okay, so you guys are reaching the end of your time, more than likely.
Collegiate careers.
Your collegiate
careers.
Then.
The end of our time.
Yeah, I'm bringing this in. How do you guys plan to continue this community once you guys have graduated and moved on and received a degree? Are you guys going to find a way to continue to stay in the community? Are you going to pass the torch? Have you even thought about that at all? What's going to go on? I mean, I'm not trying to incite anything. I'm just curious how the collegiate community is going to continue, because that's probably something that people always think about, is that you only have 4 years in college. What happens after that 4 years when that senior leaves? How do you pass the torch?
Yeah, well, I am lucky enough to where I will have a victory lap here, so I'm not leaving quite yet. But to answer that question,
don't feel bad. I did the exact same thing.
Ew. But to answer that question, it all comes down to your executive board and kind of looking at your members as well, and who's been super involved and is really excited and really wants to take up this task, and making sure that you're giving them the resources that they need to succeed, and making sure that when you're learning something new, they're learning it beside you, or putting together some way or some type of training for those people. That's something I failed at last year, as when I was president, is making sure that my exec had all the resources I had. And I've been really thinking about that this summer, and thinking about how can I increase my executive board's human capital in a way to help them with club stuff and to help them with personal stuff. I know that I'm pretty confident that there's this one guy on our exec board. I'm pretty confident that he really wants to run for president his senior year, and I believe in him a lot. He's grown so much, and I just want to make sure that him or anyone else who wants to apply like has all the resources that they need. So I'm fine with taking the time to go and like train them. As for when I graduate, it's actually really cool because Miami has a lot of really strong alumni that used to be in the club. They all graduated last year, sadness. Most of them were like that founding group of the esports club. Like our founder TJ and Josh is like technically a founder too, and they still are heavily involved. Like Josh coaches our A team and kind of coordinates and helps them out with anything. Like he worked directly with me over our over summer term to just kind of help with club structure and like figure everything out. And I definitely want to be there for the next executive board, like when I'm gone, and for the members too. And I definitely want to come back because I think it's important for the club and the exec to realize that like this had an impact on me. And that's why I'm coming back. Right. And I want to see how it grew. I want to see how people are doing. I want it to succeed. So I'm happy to come back, share with any resources I have at that time, and kind of have them understand that like this is a great place for you to be. And everyone's really happy that you're here.
Yeah, see, from what I've seen talking with you, Celery, and talking with Jonathan, well, primarily I talk with Celery outside of it, but just talking with both of you is that everyone's motivated, everyone's passionate, and even though once you leave, I'm sure there's plenty of spots left for everybody. Now, I don't understand clubs. It's been years since I've been out of college, so God knows there wasn't even an esports club when I was in college, let alone the talk of it. So, but
did esports even exist then?
I mean, technically it did because we interviewed Dennis Fong a few weeks ago, and he was the first pro gamer in like '95.
Back in my day.
Yeah, yep.
But 2004 esports, that wasn't even a rumbling. That was CS 1.6 or whatever, and StarCraft Brood War in 2004 when I graduated from high school. Walking into college. But yeah. I'm glad to see that you guys have some kind of idea to move forward, how you're going to move forward, how you're going to continue to stay within the community, because I think that's one of the biggest things. Something we didn't talk about here is that leadership and having that leadership role, having somebody who has ideas, pushes the community forward. And if you lose that leader at any point in time, the community crumbles. And so it's you can't lose that person, and it's hard to teach somebody else to pick up that leadership role. While it can happen, the community can roll forward. It may never be the same. So it's very Go ahead, Chira.
Another piece of this too is that if you are one of those people who feel like you have a good idea for something, but you're kind of sitting there being quiet and then not showing up and kind of like trying to make that idea something that's legitimate, or you're waiting around for somebody to ask you, hey, what can I do? Or do you have an idea on X subject? Especially in something that's new and growing, not always the best thing to do, because like that's how things can burn out pretty quickly. So it becomes a situation where if you like take a leap of faith and just go out and try and do exactly what you guys have done and been like, hey, we want to do this tournament. We want to make this thing a reality. And for a lot of people, they're not going to succeed on their first try, but the difference between not succeeding on your first try and not succeeding at all, like if you keep at it, you're going to be able to sort of do what you want to do eventually.
Yeah, well put. I think that pretty much wraps it up here with at least questions for you, Lashak. I feel bad you didn't get a chance to say anything. You just kind of sat there with a pretty face the entire podcast.
I mean, you talked so much about me at the beginning. I felt it was only fair to give other people the spotlight.
Oh my God, the sarcasm.
No, actually, you really, really did talk about me a lot.
I was trying to get you involved.
You did talk about him a lot.
But real quick, like what you had there, one thing that I've learned actually getting involved with T-Force is that, people all the time like, oh, how can I help out? Well, I don't know. What can you do? You tell me what you can offer, because I don't know what I need.
And if you have a really good idea and it's like, wow, that's a really good idea. Yeah, make this thing happen. Like, if you want to do something, that's when hey, we can shout out and be like, check out this cool thing. Because otherwise, if you don't say anything, how the heck are we going to ever find out about it?
Community organizer. I had no idea I needed one until somebody came to me and said, hey, I want to put tournaments together for T-Force. I had no idea I should have done that. I mean, it seems so obvious now that I've been putting them together and that I need a person. But when the person came to me, I had no idea. I actually had a guy message me the other day. I want to get back to community. What can I do? And all I can respond to him and say, I don't know what you can do.
What
can
are
you
your
offer
ideas?
me?
What would you like to do?
Yeah, what can you offer me? Because it's not that I don't want to include you. I just don't have ideas because I don't know what you can do. That's the same thing like going to a job, right? That's why you bring a resume, so you show what you can offer the person. It's the same thing when you come to somebody, tell them. I'm sure you guys would love somebody to come up to you from the college and say, I have this awesome idea. This is what I want to do. And you guys would talk about it.
It's not the smartest thing to go into a job interview and be like, yeah, so what do you need me for?
Yeah. Yeah, no.
You're creating your own position so many times, especially when it's something new and up and coming like this. Like, hey, I can do this. Do you want me to do this?
That's actually how our Heroes of the Storm tournament popped up. Because one of my friends, her name's Taylor at Miami, she went up to me. She's like, hey, is there any Heroes of the Storm at All Mid? And I'm like, no, there's not. And she's like, well, if I commit to organizing one for your casual land, can there be? And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Like,
if you want to do the work.
You know what's funny? That's all it comes down to is if you want to do the work, absolutely. I'll shout you out for days. I don't got to do anything. Have fun. Run along.
But the cool thing about that is like, I don't know. I think it creates some more love for the position itself. Like now Taylor feels extremely invested. She's excited because she's created it. This is like her baby. The Heroes of the Storm tournament is her thing. She came up with all the rules and how it's gonna play out. Like she sent me this like 5-page document on just everything that she wanted to happen, and I'm like, Taylor, this is amazing. I'm very impressed with you. I'm so excited. Like, let's do this. Like, let's get you the resources to actually make this happen. And that's really cool for her because now she can look back on it and say, like, look what I did. I did this awesome thing with this gaming company called All Mid, and I'm excited in it. And almost like it's empowering too. Like, she feels this way, like, I can do this in the future because, I mean, I already did it for a company. So, like, I can do anything.
That's the best part. And then you guys are there. So if she needs a job, it is a reference, needs somebody to talk, whatever it is, you guys are there to talk about it.
Imagine that things that people do feed off of one another.
Yeah.
You know what's so funny is the one time I've had Riot called me once for Sotir. I don't know if Jonathan might remember Sotir. Do you? Have you listened along?
Yes, I do.
When he got a job with Riot, Riot called me and did a mini interview with me for Sotir to get the job at Riot. Like I had to tell them all about Sotir and how well he worked. And at that point, I was driving home and I went, I've made it. I've made it. You know what I mean? Riot called me, and you know that's like the next thing you need. And that's the same thing with people. You had your partner come up to you, and they will say the same thing one night as they are going to bed. I've made it. Somebody believes in me.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's community building with All Mid GG for tonight. Like if you don't get something out of this entire podcast and you can't build a community off this. Well, we'll help you. Write in. We'll help you. Feedback at trinityforcepodcast.com. We will get you in touch with the right people. Guys, October 3rd, we're going to Cincinnati, Ohio. Lashak's going to be there.
I'm so ready to have a bunch of fun.
He's doing stuff. Celery, Jonathan, I know you guys are going to be busier than hell, and I will probably only see you for blips and pieces of the day, if that. But at the end of the night, if you guys come out and you guys have enough energy to come out with us, because we're going to go, I won't say bar crawling. We're just going to go out to a bar and have a couple drinks when the night's over.
Hot games, be silly.
Yeah,
just
beer is on us. And I 100% mean that. Beer is on us if you guys come out with us that night.
Put enough alcohol in me, I'll run the worst late night D&D game you've ever experienced in your life.
We will sit at Rhinegeist and do a late night D&D game.
I'll do it. We
should go to 16. Isn't there's like a video game arcade?
16-bit.
Yeah.
Yes.
We can do that.
Oh, we could do that. Yeah, we'll be around until you guys close. So if you guys are around, like I said, I'm dead serious when I say beer's on me that night. So, yeah, that's the community building with All Mid. If you go there, you guys can join in with a game with Lashak, and you have another DM coming too, right, Lashak?
I don't have another DM confirmed coming at this time.
Oh, okay. I thought you had a second.
But I have other people from the community that are coming along to help out. So maybe I can Shanghai one of them. It's like, hey, you're running a game now.
I'm sure there'll be plenty of just tables open that people can kind of steal, and then when Celery comes up to me and says, "What's going on here?" I'm like, "Don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it."
T-Force Invasion.
Yeah, right. T-Force Invasion. Yeah, you guys, you can check us out at All Mid in Cincinnati, Ohio on October 3rd. We will be there starting at 9 a.m. until it's 11, right?
Sounds about right.
10, 11 o'clock. It's gonna go all day.
It'll be late. Yeah.
It's October 3rd and 4th. At 4th, it closes at 5 o'clock that day as they finish out the day with a couple D&D sessions. We will be there 100% for sure all day Saturday. We'll be there I think we'll be there all day Sunday, but some of us will only be there half a day. But if you guys want to come check us out again, Cincinnati, Ohio, Celery, Jonathan, guys, thank you so much for coming on tonight.
Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, seriously, thank you. This has been so much fun.
This is so exciting. I listen to this podcast every week, and now they're asking me to be on the show, and I'm just like,
Hopefully we didn't make too big of I didn't make too big of an ass of myself tonight.
And hopefully we don't scare you away if you guys want to do something again
Thanks,
in the future
thanks,
and come back
LaShawn.
on.
Yeah, did I miss anything else? Anything else you guys want to promote or anything before we get out of here?
Just come out, meet us, have a good time, come to All Mid. Like, it's going to be awesome. Meet people in the Midwest and play games and make friends.
There you go. Come join us. Oh, yeah, because we're having a live podcast there. Like this entire show, we didn't once mention it. We're having a live podcast at All Mid, our first ever live podcast.
Yeah, that's a thing we're doing.
At 5 o'clock on Saturday, we're having a live podcast that day. Like, it's going to be crazy. So, guys, that's it. That's episode number 294 of the Trinity Force podcast. Thank you so much for listening. We will see you next week for episode 295. Peace.
Bye.
See ya.